6 figures in old bills, a pearl-handled Colt, and a letter signed by Willie Nelson. That's what waits inside my father's cedar chest the night I finally lift the lid. The money smells like dust and time. The pistol shines like it was polished yesterday. And the letter has my name on it. That's the ending, or close to it. The beginning is a white envelope that crackles like a cicada shell in August heat, and a codicil that says, "To inherit the Cole place, Thomas will live in the house 30 nights alone, and on the 30th, open the south bedroom closet and take what is his." My father's handwriting never begged for anything. This does not beg, it commands. I'm 58, sweat burning my eyes, hill country rolling away in cinnamon and ash. Behind me, a dark Ford F-250 idles at the end of the drive, window down, driver invisible. It waits like it's counting my breaths. Then it eases off, tires chewing limestone, disappearing as quietly as a bad idea. Ray calls at dusk. "Tommy, sign the papers." "Realtor's ready." We split the cash and walk. "It isn't that simple," I tell him. "There are conditions." "Dad's dead," he snaps. "Paperwork's just paperwork. Don't let him run your life from the grave." But that's exactly where he always ran it best. I unroll a sleeping bag in the front room, Lone Star sweating on the floor, and sit with the old house breathing around me, cedar, tobacco, and something metallic underneath. Somewhere in the dark, boots crunch gravel. They stop just shy of the porch. I don't move. The night holds its breath. Then a voice slips through the mesquite, low and ragged, worn to velvet by smoke and years. Willie Nelson. Not a radio, no radio in the house. Not a phone. The sound moves like smoke. It says a line my father used to hum when tractors quit and fences broke. "Turn out the lights. The party's over." And then the night closes back up. By morning, I'm circling the south hall, like a coyote around a snare. The door at the end has been locked since '97. The key the lawyer sent is warm in my pocket, as if it's been living. Etched along its shaft, so faint I think I imagined it, are 2 letters. W.N. Noon brings a knock. Just 2 raps and a silence that feels like a dare. The graveside stranger steps inside like he already owns the place long, road burned, ponytail tied, eyes pale as river stones. "Name's Cutter," he says, touching his hat to a house that never met him. "Your daddy told me you'd be here. Said you'd need help finding what's yours, if you're man enough to take it." The brass lighter he leaves behind is not a gift. It's a sentence. "When you hear Willie sing again, light this," he tells me. "Then you'll know where to look. Don't trust anyone, not even your own blood." Ray calls that evening with fear he tries to fold into anger. "If you found a box, don't open it. There are men who've been waiting on that thing longer than we've been alive." "How do you know?" I ask. Silence. Then, "Because I tried to take it once." The line dies. The house hums. At midnight, the voice comes back soft as memory, rough as a gravel road. I strike the lighter. The flame stands steady. The hum gathers at the south end of the hall. The brass key turns smoother than it has any right to after 3 decades. The door opens, slow and aching. The smell is cedar and mothballs and gun oil. Behind a wardrobe, a closet door with a lock that wears the same faint letters as the key. W.N. Headlights crawl past the window. The Ford again. It lingers. Then it leaves. I turn the key. The lock clicks like a tongue against teeth. Inside waits a cedar chest banded in iron. A folded note in my father's bold hand. "Son, this holds what I couldn't bury, though God knows I tried. It belongs to this family, and it comes with a cost. Do not open it unless you're ready to pay." The hum presses up through my palms. I pull back like I've touched a live wire. Outside, somebody starts a truck. Another joins. The hill swallows the sound. The house listens with me. The lighter's flame wavers. The night holds a question, and for the first time, I can hear an answer forming. "Open it, or it will open you." I count nights the way men count debts. 1, 2, 3. On 5 I hear boots in gravel and a guitar chord so soft I could have dreamed it. On 9 I find a cigarette burn on the porch rail that wasn't there at noon. On 12 a text finds my phone from an unknown number. You have what belongs to us. Midnight tomorrow. Bring it to the spoke. Or we come take it. The broken spoke, Austin's last honest honky-tonk. My father's altar, Willie's church. They want me to carry whatever I've inherited into neon light and wooden floors that have outlived marriages and bands and bar fights. Men who send texts like that don't ask. They announce. Cutter arrives again without asking. Screen door squealing its old complaint. He walks the hall like he built it. Stops at the south door like it owes him money. You can't keep that box here, he says. They'll burn this place to limestone. Who are they? I ask. Men who think money and silence breed the same, he says. Men who remember 73 and don't forgive. What happened in 73? He rolls the brass lighter over his knuckles. A job that shouldn't have got done got done. A debt was born. Your daddy carried it because he was mean enough to hold it and decent enough to hate it. Tell me what's in the chest. A man shouldn't speak another man's sins, he says. He should make sure they don't eat the son alive. Ray calls again near sundown. Don't go to the spoke, he says, voice fraying. Whatever they promise, it won't include you breathing. If this is just business, I ask, why Dad locked the room? Why 30 nights? Because he wanted you scared, Ray says flat. Because he wanted you alone. Because he thought fear might make you smart. Because he didn't trust you, I say. And the silence that follows is colder than anything the house has held. By night 20, I've stopped pretending the music is in my head. It comes when the wind dies and the mesquite holds still, when the coyotes run silent. It comes from the ridge and through the cracks, a rasp of voice that has lived inside our house since I was a boy and my father came home drunk and humming. I take the chest to the kitchen table, where Dad turned bills into stacks and lies into something like truth. The lock accepts the key with a groan like old timber. The lid lifts. No gold, no silver, oilcloth. A photograph. My father young and grinning, shoulder to shoulder with Willie outside the broken spoke. Both hands on a guitar case that looks wrong, thicker, heavier. Meant to hold weight that clangs instead of sings. Inside the oilcloth, the same case waits. Black leather scarred, WN, etched into the latches like a signature, or a blessing, or a curse. When I touch it, the hum becomes an engine. I flick the lighter. The flame turns everything to honey. The latches give. The lid lifts. No guitar. Just money-banded, crisp, yellowed by years. 6 figures at least. Tucked into the lining, wrapped in wax paper, a Colt Tech 245 with a pearl handle that throws my face back at me like a stranger. Under the money, a letter. The handwriting jittered, restless. The name signed at the bottom. Willie Nelson, Thomas. If you're reading this, your daddy kept his word. That box was never meant for him, only for the one who'd come after. In 73, a job got done that shouldn't have been, and a debt was born that never got paid. The money is theirs. The Colt is mine. The truth is yours. If you want peace, deliver the case. If you want answers, load the Colt and stay put. Either way, don't call the law. They ain't built for this. My hands shake enough that the Colt winks like heat off asphalt. I set it back gently, like it might go off from insult. Trucks grind into the drive. Doors slam. Voices low, careful, rehearsed. A man calls out, voice rough with authority and cigarettes. Cole boys, we know you got it. Bring it out now and nobody bleeds tonight. Ray answers him. I don't know when he arrived. I don't know if he ever left. It's mine, he says, voice high, scared. He ain't handing it over. I am. I kill the light, snap the case. My heart hits my ribs hard enough. I feel the wood answer. The brass lighter's cap clicks shut like a period on a sentence I don't like. I step onto the porch with the Colt in my hand and the case under my arm. 3 rifles lift as one. Ray backs away from me like I'm a snake he's finally recognized. The men with him are Hat, Brim, and Shadow, and Hunger. Before anybody breathes, a chord rolls down from the ridge east of the house. One note, clear and low. The kind of sound that sits your bones down before your brain knows you're sitting. The men freeze. One spits in the dust and misses his own boot. Up on the ridge a figure stands, with a guitar slung low, and a hat brim heavy. Moonlight gives him silver edges, shoulders, jaw, the slow patience of a man who has outlived too much to hurry now. Not real, one of them mutters. He's long gone, another chord answers him. Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys. The voice is scratched through with gravel and smoke, but it carries like a promise or a threat. Enough, the leader says, throat tight. Drop the case and walk. I don't drop it. I raise the Colt, not at Ray, not yet, but at the part of the night where the leader's breath shines in the air. This belongs to my father, I say, not you. The rifles twitch higher and then lower, almost imperceptibly, like the men forgot how to finish lifting their own guns. They're not looking at me anymore. They're looking past me. Ray whispers, Tommy, don't. I don't know if he means don't die, or don't make me watch, or don't make me choose you. The figure on the ridge walks down through the mesquite, slow, like time's water doesn't touch him. When he's close enough, the moon puts his face together. Willie, older, lined like a map of Texas, eyes sad and steady, real enough my skin knows it. Real enough the men who came to take what's mine take an unconscious step back. You boys still chasing old sins, he says. Put your rifles down, or leave 'em up. Either way, you ain't getting what's in that case, unless a coal boy hands it to you. The leader laughs once, ugly. If this is some parlor trick, it ain't, Willie says. And that's the end of that. Ray swallows. I just want to live, Tommy. Then go home, I say. And I hate how it sounds in my mouth. He hesitates. Men like Ray don't know how to leave a table when there's money on it, even if the house is on fire. But the look on Willie's face does something to him. He steps away, hands up, eyes flicking between me and the case and the Colt like he's watching a man juggle knives. The leader edges back into the dark. Tomorrow. The spoke. Midnight. He says it like a vow and a sentence. Bring it. Engines cough to life. Gravel spits. Night returns to a shape I recognize. Crickets. Coyotes. A long breath after a held one. Willie stands in the yard, like a monument that wandered off its base. Up close, his hair is white as limestone dust. His hands nicked and scarred. He looks at me like he's carrying my father's face in his memory and measuring whether I fit it. Your daddy carried my promise, he says. Now it's yours. Debt like this don't fade. You pay it, or you own it. What am I holding? I ask Colt, heavy in my hand. A life, he says, taken wrong, and a river that's been running the wrong way ever since. Cutter steps out of shadow like he grew there. I don't jump because I've run out of jumping for the night. He nods to Willie, like 2 men who have buried the same dog. You sure about this? Cutter asks him. Willie's eyes don't leave mine. He's his father's son. I don't know if that's a blessing. Tomorrow, I say. The spoke. Tomorrow, Willie says. Bring the truth. The broken spoke smells like spilled beer and old heartbreak and pepper gravy. The boards in the floor have learned the shape of boots and dancing and fights worth having. Neon throws pink and blue across faces that look like they've been carved out of time with a pocket knife. Cutter and I take a table in the back. The case sits between my boots like a dog that could bite anyone it wanted. The Colt rests against my spine in a position it probably remembers from another life. Ray's not with me. He called twice, and I let both calls die. If blood can't be trusted, it shouldn't be promised. The band plays a slow one. Couples move like people who know where they'll sleep tonight. Willie isn't on the stage. He's a rumor in the corner of the bar, a shadow that keeps catching the corner of my eye, a chord I can't tell is memory or air. Midnight comes the way it always does in Texas, sudden, like a door opening. 3 men slide inside, hats low, shirts clean, boots, too new to be good. The leader is the same voice from the drive, a man with a face that thinks it never had to say please. He sits without asking. The case. I set it on the table. I don't open it. Before I hand anything, I say, I want a name. He smiles with 4 teeth and no humor. You don't need my name. Cutter's voice is quiet but edged. If you're going to take a dead man's money and a live man's breath, the least you can do is bring a name to the table. The leader leans back. My granddaddy collected debts in this town before you were born. We carried men who thought they could steal from Nashville and hide in Austin. We carried men who thought outlaw meant they could put a badge on sin and call it a song. And in 73, I ask? In 73, a boy with a guitar and a temper shot a man who'd come to collect. He grins. And a coal helped hide the smoke. My father's face swims up out of whiskey and stories, and the kind of love that looks too much like fear. Under the table, my hand finds the case and steadies itself like it knows I'm going to be stupid. The leader plants both hands in the neon. The money is ours, the gun is sentimental, and the letter, he smirks, is going into my pocket, because truth is a thing better lost. The band slides into Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain. A couple near the stage stops dancing and just holds on. I catch Willie's reflection in the mirror behind the bar. A brim, a braid. He doesn't look at me. He looks at the case. I flip the latches. The lid lifts. Money, old and yellow as memory. The Colt, wicked and beautiful. The letter, my name written like a man who already knew too much about me. You take the money, I say. Every bill. Walk out. Leave the gun and the letter. The leader chuckles. We take the whole thing, son. That's not what the note says, I say. And I hate how hopeful I sound. The money is theirs. The Colt is mine. The truth is yours. He reaches. Cutter's hand lands on the leader's wrist fast, the way rattlesnakes move when they've run out of patience. The room feels the moment break and tilts toward silence. Bars become churches fast when guns are considering speaking. The leader's men pull jackets back enough to show metal. Cutter doesn't blink. I don't either, because my father raised me mean enough for this. Gentlemen, the bartender says, calm as a man reading weather. We're not doing this on the floor. We're doing it wherever the money sits, the leader says without looking. Then do it outside, the bartender says, where it's rained on better men. We walk out under a sky that looks like God hammered holes in it. The lot is chalked with dust and tire scars. You want peace? The leader asks me. Hand it over and go home. I look at the case. I look at Cutter. I look at the door to the spoke like it could decide to lock us out of our own night. I hear Willie humming, not from anywhere I can point to, but from a time the building has stored up like heat. Peace is too expensive, I say, but I'll pay debt. I set the case on the hood of a truck. I don't care if I never see again, and pull out half the bundles, then half again. The leader watches me with something like respect and more like curiosity. Like a man in a pew who didn't expect to feel anything on a Sunday. What are you doing? Cutter asks. Paying what I can live with, I say. I hand the leader the money. He weighs it with his eyes first, then his hands. The desert taught men like him 2 scales and no mercy. And the rest, he says, stays with the dead, I say. The gun and the letter stay with me. That's not the deal, he says. It's the only one you get, I say. Or, you can try to take it and find out if a Colt argues as loud now as it did then. He stares long enough for the night to sweat. Then he nods once. You just bought yourself enemies, he says. I already had a brother. I answer. They leave with the cash. The lot remembers 1,000 fights and chooses to let this one end with words and boots. Cutter exhales. Your old man would have liked the shape of that. He'd have hated the cost, I say. So do you, Cutter says. We stand there until the crickets remember their song. Inside, the band has moved on to something faster. The floor takes it and forgives us. In the mirror behind the bar, Willie is gone. I sleep 3 hours and dream the same dream. My father at the kitchen table, cigarette burning to a long ash he never taps. Willie in the doorway, humming something that isn't a melody, so much as a prayer. When I wake, the house hums and the Colt sits where I set it, looking patient. Ray shows at noon, like a man who wants forgiveness, but will take a fight. He stands in the doorway and stares at the case and then at me, like I've stolen a piece of his face. You gave them the money, he says. Some, I say. Some? He laughs, ugly. You think fractions keep wolves out? Do you? I ask. He steps in close. I did what I had to back then, he says, meaning 97 in a boy's hands on a lock that wasn't his. He locked me out because he loved this place more than me. He locked you out because he loved you more than the place, I say. And Ray flinches like I hit him with a truth. We could still sell, he says, voice small. Pay taxes for the next 50 years. Leave this all in the dirt. Dad didn't leave us land, I tell him. He left us a choice. Cutter comes in quiet, like weather. He pours coffee like it's medicine. What now? I ask him. Now you do the part you didn't want to, he says. You carry the gun to where it belongs. My father's grave? He shakes his head. Nah. He carried it long enough. You take it to the river. Let it forget. I think of the ridge, and the mesquite, and the voice that walked down moonlight like it was stairs. At dusk, we drive to the crossing, where the Guadalupe has been patiently undoing men's mistakes for longer than anybody you can name has been singing about them. The water is cool in the heat. The rocks feel like the bones of a county that refuses to rot. I hold the Colt in both hands. It is beautiful. It is wicked. It is a tool that did what a hand told it, and then kept the telling. Say his name, Cutter says. I don't know it. I say. Say your father's, he says. I do. It hurts. It heals a little. Both feel honest. Say yours, he says. I do. It fits. Now let it go, he says. I throw the Colt far enough that I have to lean forward to hear it hit. The river takes it like it takes heat from skin, greedy, grateful, inevitable. The splash is small. The relief is not. When we turn back to the truck, Willie is standing by the pecan like he grew there. He looks at the place where the river just lied for us, and nods once like a pastor giving a benediction to a man who hasn't been good but has finally stopped being stupid. Debt's not just money, he says. It's the song you owe after you've taken the stage. I paid some, I say. You paid the part you could, he says. The rest ain't yours to carry. Ray is crying and doesn't know it until he wipes his face and stares at his hand like it betrayed him. What about me? He asks. A boy all of a sudden in a man's sunburned skin. Willie looks at him the way my father used to when he wanted to say, I love you, and instead said, eat your food. You go home, he says. You work. You don't tell lies you can't live through. And you let your brother keep the house warm. Ray nods, like a man learning English at 55. He walks away lighter and doesn't know why. Cutter lights a cigarette and doesn't smoke it. You kept the letter, he says. I kept the truth, I answer. We go back to the ranch. The kitchen smells like coffee and cedar and something that might finally be peace. I put the letter in the south closet, not because I'm hiding it, but because I'm putting it somewhere the house can watch it. I sleep in my father's chair, and for the first time the boards don't creak like warnings. They creak like old men telling jokes. I dream the spoke with the lights up and the band packing cables and my father saying, you don't own land in Texas, you borrow it from your children, and sometimes they don't want it back. In the dream, I answer him, I'm keeping this, Dad. Not the acres, the story. Morning brings a breeze that sneaks through the eaves and smells like hay and rain that hasn't fallen yet. The Ford F-250 doesn't come back. Men who live on collecting other men's mistakes have found someone else to visit. I walk the fence line he used to brag on. It is still straighter than most men's spines. The house squats on caliche like it's bracing for a fight, and then decides the fight can wait. On my last night 30, I sit at the kitchen table with the letter folded under my palm. I write my own note on the back of a water bill I'm going to pay late. If you're reading this, you stayed. Good. The house will take your weight. The choices will too. Pay what you can, keep what you must. Don't let anybody write your name for you, not even me. I slide it into the closet, set the old key on top, and close the door. Outside, the coyotes start up like they always have and always will. The mesquite ticks with cooling. Somewhere a guitar chord lifts and falls. Not a haunting anymore. Just a song traveling like songs do, from one body to another until it finds somebody ready to carry it. I turn out the lights. If there's a party left, it's mine to end.